Hey everyone, my name's Tomato Anus, also known as the Airbud of speedrunning and also known as Below the Belt Shrimp, and yes, you read the title right, this is a speedrun to get pregnant. Similar to with my speedrun to eat a baby, you likely have a ton of questions right now and hopefully they'll all be answered throughout this video. Despite starting Fallout 4 with a baby, you're unable to get pregnant and have more. Unless you mod the hell out of your game, which I had to learn to do since I've never really heavily modded a game before, and I spent a few days troubleshooting it all to get it to work just so I can get pregnant in this game and do a speedrun of it. Now that you know what this run is, the biggest questions you likely have are why would someone speedrun this and what kind of person would spend multiple days of their life troubleshooting mods on adult modding forums and performing speedruns to get pregnant? Anyways, I don't see any chance this video doesn't end up being demonetized, so it's time to resort to what YouTubers resort to, the word that starts with an M and rhymes with blurchandise. And the official Tomato Anus merch store, Wolf.store, is live now. You betcha, live right now. Go to wolf.store to get yourself some merch like this hoodie Chicago guy is wearing with the palm tree and a dog and a cat, I think. And is that a bird on top? Hey Tomato, this merch is really confusing. Do you have any more samples that we could show off so that it makes more sense to the audience what the merch actually is? Oh, actually no, that's the only sample we have. My car got broken into and all the other samples got stolen, so we can only show off pictures of the other products right now. Like right here though, we have Tomato Anus stickers and we have Tomato Anus ringer tees.
Ooh, I like those.
We also have the palm tree design on both white and blue hoodies and then also black and blue tees, and then we also have pins and bucket hats with the wolf logo on it. Yeah, see, that's where you lost me. Lost you how? Hey, I've got some questions about this merch. I have some questions too. Alright, fine, what are they? So this merch, I don't get it. How is that a question? Yeah, I don't get it either. Why these shittily drawn animals? Guys, come on, this is based on the Tomato Anus merch we've been selling for years. You know, the wolf dog, the purr cat, the chirp bird. They're the wolf pack. They all live in a palm tree together. Like 3 people know about that merch in those animal drawings. I knew about them because I'm a real fan. Dude, don't be a dick. Get out of here with that gatekeeping. Guys, come on, this can be like the Tomato Anus brand now. Wolf.store, we have our own website for it. I mean, come on, that's huge, right? Wait, can we go back a second? Did you say that they live in that palm tree together? Come on guys, Wolf.store, it's live now for everyone. We have the Tomato Anus stickers and t-shirts, we have the Wolfpack palm tree hoodies and tees, and we have the wolf bucket hats and pins. Can we just be enthusiastic about it this one take? Please, for me. All right, ready? And wait, so do they live in the palm tree or not? I need to know to be able to get into my role. Action. So to start the run, we load a save of when we gain control of our character right after the cryogenic sequence in Vault 111. This isn't an uncommon thing in Fallout 4 speedrun categories, with categories like any % no intro, all companions, and the speedrun to become a pirate all starting with a save inside of the vault to avoid grinding out the pre-war segment over and over. First, take note of the Spider-Man vault suit that Nate's wearing. I'll explain it later. Right away, we'll grab a security baton to enable VATS, and we'll use a traffic cone to perform an item clip through the ceiling into the next chamber by putting it under us and walking backwards into the wall. When you use traffic cones to clip, it's often referred to as a VLC clip. We'll then grab another cone in preparation for another VLC clip since the first one doesn't come through the ceiling with us, then set up what's called a punch warp. A punch warp is a glitch that's set up by trying to melee attack something in VATS while standing in a spot that makes pathfinding to the target difficult. By this I mean that with where we're standing, the game would either need to clip us through objects or out of bounds to be able to hit the target. This causes the game to have to think for a moment before moving us next to the target, and it gives us a window to cancel the VATS attack before the attack begins. Canceling the attack stores the coordinates of where we're standing and makes it so that the next time that we melee attack something in VATS, we get teleported back to those coordinates. Here we wedge ourselves behind a panel and set up a punch warp on a Radroach. We then perform another VLC clip to enter the elevator room where we'll wait for the elevator to come down. If you've watched my video covering the any % run, you might be asking why I didn't perform COC2 here. For some reason, which I believe is the fact that the game is so heavily modded, and also because I have to do this run on the current patch to get the mods to work, whenever I tried to do COC2, the game would crash, so I opted to just not do it in runs. Something else worth mentioning is that because I had to do this run on the most recent patch for the mods to work, item clips are slightly different than in the any% run. In this patch, you can rotate items while you're holding them by pressing the mouse buttons, which means that I can manipulate them to face a certain direction to make a clip easier. On the patch we use for any%, I have to bump items up against objects to rotate them. On this patch, items are definitely a bit more stiff when held for clips, which makes them slightly harder to use overall in my opinion, but it's pretty comparable since both ways have upsides and downsides. Outside, we're going to run up to a Radroach and do a VATS melee attack on it, activating our Punch Warp and teleporting us to the coordinates of where we set up the Punch Warp inside of the vault. In the Commonwealth, those coordinates correspond to around the center of the map near GreenTech Genetics. It's pretty far across the map, so the game has a lot to load in, so once we activate the Punch Warp, there's a solid chunk of time spent loading. This Punch Warp teleports us to under the map, and while we load and eventually fall underneath the map, I hold S to move backwards. This moves me in air so that when I upwarp back into the map, I'm closer to my objective and also not trapped in a nearby raider encampment. So real quick, let's talk about that Spider-Man vault suit and where we're headed right now. As you can probably tell, getting pregnant in Fallout 4 wasn't a speedrun category before now. I made it up entirely for this video. And just like with the speedrun to eat a baby, because I made it up, I get to make any rules and restrictions that I want. Right now, we're headed to accomplish one of the requirements for the run, which is that you have to hit the glowing one that's stranded on the raft in the river before you get pregnant. If you don't do that, then the run is invalid. Similarly, that Spider-Man vault suit that you saw Nate wearing earlier is a mod that I installed on accident when trying to get all the pregnancy mods to work, but I'm bad with mods, so rather than remove it, I just made it a rule that for the run to be valid, you have to have that mod installed, despite the mod only seeming to work with vault suits that males are wearing. Another rule for this run is that you have to have the Santa Strong mod installed that gives Strong a Santa outfit. Strong isn't a part of the run, we don't even see him during it, but I made it a rule just to make myself feel a little better and have a little closure on Santa existing. Now that we've hit the glowing one, we're on our way to the next requirement of the run, which is that you have to steal a Fat Man and Mini Nuke from Goodneighbor before getting pregnant. To enter Goodneighbor, we're going to run past the Mass Fusion building, run along the top of an old truck, and leap into a back alley where a loading zone for Goodneighbor is active. This will load us into Goodneighbor as if we had entered the front door and is slightly faster to do than to go to the proper front entrance. Once we steal the Fat Man and Mini Nuke, we're going to sprint to the exit, and once we load in outside of Goodneighbor, then I'll bind the Fat Man to a hotkey using my invisible Pip-Boy. We skipped grabbing the Pip-Boy in the vault, and if you exit the vault without grabbing it, then the game automatically gives it to you, but it's invisible until you quit to the main menu and load back in. This is slow though, so instead I'll just be navigating the Pip-Boy blindly. You might be asking how I'd be able to fast travel with an invisible Pip-Boy, and the answer to that is with a lot of difficulty. If fast traveling were allowed, that is. This is because another rule for this category is that fast traveling is banned, and also that you can only perform one punch warp per run, which we've already burned through to get to the center of the map quickly. I'm sure most of you are saying, wow, these rules are arbitrary and stupid as hell, especially for a speedrun to get pregnant. And you know what? I agree. These rules are incredibly arbitrary and all made up for the sake of arbitrariness, but that's the thing about speedrunning is that it's all arbitrary. There is no one correct way to play a game, similar to how there is no one correct way to speedrun a game. Yes, leaderboards exist and serve a purpose and have rules to follow to promote competition, but leaderboards aren't required to speedrun. If there's a run that sounds fun or funny to you, then go ahead and do it. You don't need a leaderboard to speedrun, and you don't need anyone else to validate your speedrun as a legitimate category before doing a run of it. If it sounds fun, then do it, and don't worry about its legitimacy and what others think. And maybe there's an existing category you like, but you aren't a fan of some rules for it. It's totally acceptable to do the run then on your own time and terms, adding or removing requirements as you see fit. I do have to say though, please, if you do plan to submit a run to a speedrunning leaderboard, read the rules and respect them. You can speedrun however you want, but if you want to be on a leaderboard, you will have to operate within whatever constraints have been outlined by that speedrunning community. So getting back to the run, we're about to arrive at DB Technical High School, which is where our next objective is located, to acquire and equip the mascot head. As we approach the high school, I make sure to have out my security baton since there's a dog that always spawns outside the school that we have to take out. If we don't take them out, then they'll follow us into the high school and either kill us or cripple us, which both are obviously bad for the run. Inside, we'll take a shortcut by jumping and unchaining a door through a window, which lets us skip a chunk of running in this area and also allows us to get to the basement quicker. The basement is where the raider boss Bosco is located, and he's wearing the mascot head. To get the mascot head from him, we're going to use our Fat Man in an intimidation tactic that causes Bosco to lay down and let us pick whatever we want from his inventory. We get a chunk of XP from doing this, which thankfully levels us up since we need a lot of health for something later in the run. As soon as I grabbed the mascot head from Mr. Sticks, I both equipped it and bound it to a hotkey. Later in the run, the head will unequip on its own, so I bound it to the hotkey so it can quickly be re-equipped, but that's a rule for later on. We'll get to it when we get to it. To exit the high school, we go the way we came, and I'm sure at this point your patience is starting to wear thin with your internal monologue saying, "Where pregnant? I want pregnant." Well, we're actually on our way to go get pregnant now. When we exit the high school, we immediately start making our way to Diamond City. The reason we're heading there is because one of the rules for the category is that you must get pregnant inside of Diamond City, and it has to be at night under the stars. What can I say? I'm a romantic. To enter Diamond City, we're going to perform an item clip and back so that we can enter via a loading zone inside, which skips dealing with Piper and Mayor McDonough out front. As we make our way towards Diamond City, we pass by Trinity Tower and wait, I thought I heard Santa lives around here. So to clip into Diamond City, rather than do a VLC clip, which is standard in any percent, we're going to be using a mannequin named Lois to perform the clip, because dem's the rules. Lois is named Lois because that's her name. As I run holding Lois, you'll see me rotate her with my mouse buttons in preparation for the clip, which is what I was talking about earlier with being able to manipulate object orientations on later patches. Lois is super difficult to clip with, plus there's a feral ghoul nearby that will attack us if we take too long, so it's a pretty high stress clip to be honest. Here I took a wide berth to the left to try and avoid aggroing the ghoul, but I don't think it worked. Also, sometimes if you hold on to Lois for too long, then her model goes invisible, which makes it really hard to clip. But if that happens, then you can just drop her, take a step away and look away for a second, letting her recompose herself, fight through her nerves, and come back into existence. I'm not joking about this one, this is an actual thing. We load into Diamond City at the entrance like how we did when we entered Goodneighbor, and right away I sprint to a bench next to a hunky looking resident where I wait until the moment's right to make my move, which in this case is just until it gets dark out and the stars are out, because again, we gotta do the deed under the stars in Diamond City. Also, forgive me, there's going to be a lot of fast forwarding here. When the time comes, I have to stand up to flirt with the resident and ride the bus to Pound Town. As soon as I hand over my bus ticket, I look up so that the camera will still be looking up as soon as the cutscene begins so that we give the two characters some privacy. That, and also so that this video doesn't get age restricted even though I didn't enable nudity with these mods. Like I said at the start of the video, I had a lot of trouble getting the mods to work, and for some reason, despite me changing a bunch of mod settings to make it so that I have a 1000% chance of me getting pregnant each time, I didn't get pregnant first try here. Luckily, our ticket to Pound Town was actually a round trip ticket, so as soon as the scene ended and I noticed I didn't get the notification of being pregnant, I was able to look for the nearest male NPC to flirt with, which in this case was Solomon, and we were able to go at it again. This time, the mod worked and I got pregnant, which may lead you to think that the run is over, but it's not, as there are actually a couple additional rules to the category. First is that as soon as you sit back down after getting pregnant, you have to re-equip the mascot head, which I did with my hotkey before waiting 24 hours. We're actually going to begin waiting for 9 days straight right now. The final two rules of the speedrun to get pregnant are that you must see your child born and grow to adulthood, and then that you have to give your adult child the mascot head, passing down the family heirloom and ending the run. Like I mentioned with changing the odds that you get pregnant, you can also change how long each month is for gestation, and I was able to set it so that a single day counts as a month. I show all these settings at the end of this run, but I also made a little discovery then, so be sure to stick around and see what it is, because there's more to this run after the run ends. You'll see what I mean. After waiting for 9 days and a little change, then we'll give birth to our kid, and I think the way the mod works then is that they're in my inventory as a baby? I don't know, I didn't really do too much experimenting with how the mod works. Earlier I mentioned that we need a lot of health for something later in the run, and childbirth is actually that thing. If you don't consult with a doctor when you go into labor, then I'm pretty sure you take damage, but in this run it was actually unintentional, since I meant to talk to Dr. Sun behind us, but the baby came too quickly. Also though, when our kid grows from baby to child, they leave our inventory and we take damage then as well, and I actually lost a couple runs to dying when our kid leaves our inventory because my health wasn't high enough. So that's what I was planning for when I wanted to have a lot of health, and it was just happenstance that I survived both that tick of damage and the one from childbirth. I then set it up so that the baby grows from baby to child after 24 hours and then from child to adult after another 24 hours. So in total, it's around 11.5 days of waiting building up to the end of the run. Additionally, something I failed to mention is that I also installed that one really goofy immersive face mod, and I'm thinking that one can be optional for this run, but required if your run is a top 3 time. Who knows? None of this makes sense anyways. Anyways, while we wait for this all to play out, I'd just like to say that I hope you're all doing well. If you aren't, then please remember that how you're feeling does not define you, nor the rest of your life. There are brighter days ahead, and how you feel right now cannot take those days away from you, and they can't take away tomorrow from you either. The idea that there is a tomorrow and that no matter what's going on, when I go to bed tonight, I'll still wake up tomorrow is a line of thinking that's gotten me through a lot of difficult times, and I just want to share that mantra in case any of you needed to hear it. Just remember that no feeling is final and you can get through it. You're way stronger than you think you are. I like to talk about this exact line of thinking every video, and I get messages from people time to time thanking me for helping them, but I just like to remind you that I'm not the one helping you. You're helping yourself. Give yourself credit for making it through and pulling yourself out of difficult times. Give yourself the credit rather than the media you consume. If you find that this line of thinking is connected with you and helped you in some way, then I hope someday you're able to spread the messages as well. And yes, I do say pretty much the exact same thing every video, and yeah, I do have my same sayings that I fall back on when talking about this, but keep in mind that not everyone who sees this video sees my other videos. To me, the repetition is worth it to spread the word to those who might only watch this one video on my channel. So yeah, again, I hope you're doing well, and remember that no feeling is final. Back to the run, as soon as the time has passed for our child to reach adulthood, we get up and look for them, and it's pretty easy to spot them since they're labeled as settlers and look out of place in Diamond City. The moment that we give them the mascot head, the run officially ends. Like I mentioned before, after the run, I went into the menus to show off the settings that I used for the run just in case someone else wanted to try this category, and yeah, you know what? Scrap everything I said before. New run, new rules, we're just doing this. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any other ideas for runs like this, whether they're in the Fallout series or any other game, leave me a comment below suggesting it. Additionally, if you enjoyed this video but aren't subscribed, then please consider subscribing. It's just one button click, which doesn't take much work to do, and it's a quantitative way for me to gauge interest in this type of video. Oh, and check out wolf.store. Totally forgot that that's a thing now. I've dabbled with merch in the past, but this is the first time we have a full dedicated storefront, and I'm super excited about it. I do kind of feel like Ryan from The Office by having a website named Woof, and it's clear that didn't cross my mind when buying the domain, but this is my bed and I will lay in it.
Hey dude, what's up with all the hotties in the Woof shirts?
I'd also like to say thank you, as always, a million times over to my patrons who continue to support the channel monetarily. You're all just so kind. Monetary support is entirely unnecessary, but you all still do it and support me anyways. If you're interested in learning what the next video will be, occasional updates on videos as they're being made, access to videos early, or just chipping in $1 or $2 a month to help out the channel, then be sure to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. Again, it's entirely unnecessary, but it is greatly appreciated. Additionally, be sure to check out my Discord server where we have a super chill, wholesome, and supportive community that likes to just chat about whatever. Link is also in the description. That's all for this video though. This was a speedrun to get pregnant. I've been Tomato Anus, and I hope you have an above average day.